There's another Nazanin. I think her story and your involvement with her has been a confirming, just establishing the way for your future. Tell us about Nazanin.
Well, again, I've always done humanitarian type work, but it wasn't until I heard the story of another Nazanin, Nazanin Fatehi, a teenager in Iran who was condemned to execution simply for defending herself against a few men who tried to rape her. She had stabbed one of the men and he later died in hospital. So instead of being considered a victim of attempted rape, she was tried as a criminal. And that's what, you know, led me to learn more about human rights abuses taking place in the country of my birth, in Iran, and the legal discrimination that women face, and, you know, just the abuse that even children face. And so when I heard about her story, I felt compelled to start a campaign to save her life, and a petition which grew that then helped me to approach government officials and conduct rallies and you know, approach the UN on this subject and march into the office of the woman who was in charge of the empowerment of women at the UN and come with boxes of petition and say, you know, I'm coming into your office with hundreds of thousands of people as an army who are behind this woman, and we really need to take action. So after a year long of campaigning, that was the pressure that was needed to pressure the head of judiciary in Iran to give her a stay of execution and new trial, and in that trial she was exonerated of murder charges and she was released.
Well, Nazanin, now you're president of the Stop Child Executions Organization. 2008, appointed as a director on the board of the Canadian Race Relations Foundation. You are so plugged in. You know, someone last night introducing you said you are an old soul in a young body, just making such a difference in our world. And if people look at your, well, was it the British Telegraph called you Little Miss Perfect? I know you had pressure in school because you were such a high achiever. And I haven't even mentioned that your international beauty pageants landed you first runner-up in the Miss World competition, just 101 contestants. You've made the Billboard charts with your music, and we already mentioned you're a pilot, but these things were not about self-aggrandizement. They were all part of the platform you needed to be a change agent. Tell us your heart and motive in all these things.
Again, I think God blesses us with many talents and different capabilities, and I think we have to use them in a way to not only serve our communities but to glorify Him. I think, you know, if we have certain talents in us, if it's wasted, then it doesn't serve anybody. But if you have it, it's almost like you're responsible to use it. And so I've always searched for ways to use whatever blessing I've had to advance humanity in my own way. And whether it be singing and through my music, sometimes I've sung about God or experiences that I've had that I want to share with the public, or you know, through even the beauty pageant I entered, it was with a very specific purpose to gain a platform to speak on issues that are very close to my heart. And I think overall, though, I've never said to God, you know, God, I want to become a famous actress, or I want to be this, I want to do that. Of course, we all have things that we aspire to, and we have certain things that we want to achieve, but I've always kind of surrendered my heart, and I said to God, what is it that you would like me to do? How can I best serve you? And it seems like that's when the path was lit, so to speak. You know, an opportunity which would present itself, and I would, let's just say, do a speaking engagement or something, and then from that, another opportunity would present itself. Or I would meet somebody, and then in the next week meet somebody else whose life path is in a similar direction, and then I would be able to connect those two people and then work on the next thing. So it just kind of, life flowed and went from one path to the next.
I better mention author, too. And the newly released book, your first, The Tale of Two Nazanins. And of course, your story And the Nazanin you've already shared, just powerful, moving, I think catalysts in all of our hearts to become more aware of issues of concern like this in our world. Now, two are better than one because they have a good return for their work. Ecclesiastes says, let's come back to that handsome husband. Well, he's been in the news a lot lately, and well, it's not all wonderful.
No.
You've signed on for a different kind of arena. How do you walk alongside? I mean, it's still fresh, but how do you walk alongside with all that the political arena is going to bring into your world?
Well, first of all, I'm very blessed to have a husband that doesn't pressure me in any way to follow the direction he's going in. Let's just say a meeting, or if he has to go to an event, he never says, you have to come to this with me. I'm always welcome to join him in any capacity that I think I can be helpful, or I can be an aid on his side. As you said, it's been a difficult journey for him. In the media especially, it has been difficult for me because I know the true person that he is. I know what a wonderful heart he has, and how giving of his time he is to not only the Canadian public, but for so many people around him. And so when I see the media misrepresent him in certain ways, or they don't present facts accurately, it really breaks my own heart, because I've been at a scenario, I've been at an event, and I say to Peter, but that's not how it happened. And he said, this is the media. When you enter a life of public service, you have to also accept that you will be scrutinized, and sometimes scrutinized wrongfully. And so that part is a bit upsetting, but I'm there to support him and say, you know what, those people around you, those people that love you, they know the truth, they know what's there, and that's how I can be of service to him in bettering this country.
You also hope to be, and this was very sweet to read, a hands-on mom. Do you think that might be in the near future?
I hope so. Again, God willing, if he graces us with children, that's probably going to be the best thing that can happen in my entire life. My mother raised myself and my sister with so much love and so much care and so much time. She really gave her whole life to us, and I attribute a lot of my character today to my mother, and I want to be exactly the same way. If I decide to have children, well, if we have decided we'd like to have children when that time comes, then I want to be the same way. I want to give my whole heart and time to my children so that they can be the best citizens they can be.
Mom and Dad and sister are in Vancouver. Your home will be Nova Scotia.
That's another difficult part. My mom and dad are in Vancouver. My sister and her family are about to move to Paris, and I'm in Nova Scotia, between Nova Scotia and Ottawa. So there's a lot of travel time, but we try to make it work. And thankfully, with modern technology and Skype, we somewhat feel like you're connected, but nothing replaces one-on-one time. But we try to make that work and make as much time for each other as we can.
It's going to be exciting to watch your life unfold. I got into a cab at the airport, which brought me here to the Westin Hotel. The man's name was Reza. He came from Iran, escaped from Iran 20 years ago. He knew all about you.
Really?
And was so proud of you, so passionate about the country of his origin. And he said, would you please tell her to keep doing what she's doing? And my daughter, who's at university taking social justice and peace studies, said she also knew all about you. And she said, Mom, you have to tell her that I think she's amazing. So you've got a lot of fans, a lot of people just optimistic about what God might be doing now that he's brought you, thankfully, here in the first place, because that's how you met your husband, and now planted you in a place of perhaps the greatest influence.
I feel extremely blessed. As you just mentioned, I have so many people around me that give me so much love and energy, and that allows me to continue to do the work I do, or else, you can't do this kind of work alone. It takes a whole team. And being in Ottawa, being in the center now, I feel like maybe this is where I was supposed to be to try to have an even bigger influence and try to maybe affect policy on some issue and pressure our own government here to pressure other countries that are abusing the rights of others. And hopefully, as a team, we can, continue to help others.
Do you think you could be a prime minister's wife someday?
If that's God's will, I will take on the service, but I almost wouldn't want to wish it upon anybody. It's very difficult.
Nazanin, thank you so much for all you're doing to make this world a better place. God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you.